here's part 2, and we're back on now with Eric. I hate when he does this.
Miss Hanks, did you already put Wednesdays? No.
Thursdays?
I don't know, because I thought I was here Thursday, but I don't remember going over some of that stuff.
You mean uploaded to YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on there. Okay. So, again, Michelangelo, not believing he was a very good painter, and having done one of the greatest paintings that the Renaissance has to offer us, the Sistine Chapel ceiling. So, there's so much in this work, it is pretty unbelievable. The Vatican has an amazing website that you can go to, and we'll probably try to go to it later before we stop for the day. I thought I was linked to it, but I'm not actually. I saw that just now. I'm not linked to it, but the Vatican itself does have a website. Every now and then, when I try to get on it, it won't work right for me. I think they know I'm not Catholic, and it doesn't work right. I think that's what it is. They know. You're not Catholic, so you can't come here. But they have a great website. You can actually go inside the Sistine Chapel and pan up and get real close. It's the coolest thing you've ever seen. So I don't know what they did
the coolest thing?
to
Hi,
do
Jared.
that. But anyway, 4 years the man worked on it. A magnificent labor of love. And, you know, as I told you before, Julius constantly wanting to know when it's going to be done, and their relationship was kind of tumultuous at the time. But also adding to some of his turmoil was Raphael painting in the next room, who would come around, you know, and sneak in and want to look at the master while he was working, and Michelangelo would chunk down paintbrushes at him and, you know, yell.
It's a long way to the phone.
It's a long ways to go, it sure is.
Why do they even put that on there if it's like that?
Put what on there?
The penis.
Hey, wow.
He could have just.
That's your only focus.
No, I just don't understand. Like, if I was Adam, I'd be
We've already
there.
had that conversation.
I'd be like, for real, Michelangelo? Really?
Okay. So now let's talk about the Last Judgment of Christ. This is the one that's on the far wall. I pointed it out to you earlier.
There's so much going on.
Yeah. It's on the north wall of the Sistine Chapel, which is located in the Vatican. Michelangelo's face is on the skin of St. Bartholomew, and I'm going to show it to you. On the left side of the painting here, we have people who are rising up to heaven, and on the right side of the painting here, you have people who are being damned down into hell.
Internal.
Yeah, so that's not the side you want to be on, right? That's the bad side. Mike painted this 20 years after he painted the Sistine Chapel ceiling under a different pope. So Julius is dead now. No fighting with Julius. And I don't remember this pope's name. I can't remember it at all.
You don't have to worry about Raphael in the next
No, that's right. Don't have to worry about Raphael. Don't have to deal with him.
What page is it on?
Why not?
Last Judgment.
He's dead.
Last Judgment's on the very last page. I mean, Last
Sistine
Judgment.
Chapel North Wall.
On the first side.
What page of the picture packet is it on?
The last one.
Good grief.
11.
It's on page 11.
11, okay. Thank you. Okay, in this painting, you'll notice right down here at the front, these candles and this cross, that's all on an altar that's not part of the painting, that sits in front, okay? That stuff's not actually
that
part of the
really
painting.
shows how big it is.
Yeah.
What were those candles?
Yeah, see these candles, and this is a cross. This all sits in an altar thing that's in front of the painting, on the ground in front. Okay. So when you come into the Sistine Chapel, as I was telling you earlier, there's actually a door right here to come in. And I knew I could see the first time I was coming. I could see where I was. I could see people in front of me. And so as soon as I got in the door, I turned immediately to look, because this is so magnificent. You know, I wanted to see the characters. Even before you look up to the ceiling, I wanted to look at this one. But you're just so overcome. There's so much to look at when you're in the Sistine. You can't leave it, you know. It's just so hard to get out of there. And you got a lot of stuff going on here. When Mike first painted this, almost all of the characters were in the nude. And you'll see a lot of little wisps of clothing now, or little wisps of, I wouldn't say clothing, but cloth, yeah, that have been painted on over. Those came, a lot of these came later by, they were called breeches makers. There's a word in Italian that was a slanderous term that they gave to artists who came in and painted over Michelangelo's work, because church officials of later
Did you
times.
say breeches?
Yeah.
So what's it?
Breeches, yes.
So
What you
call
got?
them bitches though? Like,
No, I said breeches.
Okay. That would be cool. Like if someone heard it, they're like, "What? Did you say breeches or bitches?"
Breeches.
Okay.
They were called breeches makers. We say breeches, but it was spelled breeches. The slanderous term, because church officials later after Michelangelo's time didn't have as much appreciation for the nudity as they had. And so they wanted some of the nudity covered up. And so you have these little wasps of just weirdly placed cloth that came from nowhere. Now, when they did the restoration, they actually were able to take some of those off. They weren't Michelangelo's, but some of them they weren't able, without running below what's underneath, what's Mike's. So you have to make a decision. Ruin what's Mike's and repaint it? And the answer to that is no. Because nobody wants to be Mike. You know, leave it alone. So they did on some characters, and I may have a shot where I can show you that. If I don't, I have the book from the Vatican where I can show you that. But, so you have the apostles and stuff going up to heaven on this side. You have the mother of Jesus, Mary, here next to Jesus in the center here. And this is a very different type of Jesus. The attitude of Jesus here is a little bit different, because this is his last judgment. So he looks a little bit more determined, let us say.
This is not Jesus making out.
Right, I mean, this Jesus might not be as soft and fluffy as we might think of Jesus.
So fat?
Well, he's seated and twisting,
Who?
and so that might be kind of obscuring the way that he's sitting down and twisting to the side.
Oh.
Okay, so let's look at some characters. This is Bartholomew.
Is that one of those wisps of clothing though on the left?
Yeah. There we go. This is Bartholomew, and Michelangelo placed his face on the skin of Saint Bartholomew. In Catholic belief, this saint was skinned, and this is the skin of Bartholomew.
Why was he skinned?
That's how he was killed.
Oh.
Bartholomew was killed like this. A lot of the saints met gruesome deaths, right?
Why? Why? I thought they
Because,
were good guys.
well, they were, but they met gruesome deaths at the hands of others.
Oh.
You know, some of them were stoned to death. Valentine was arrowed to death. You know, I mean, a lot of them. This is shooting the arrows. I'm shooting the arrows. Give you your sound effects are fantastic, aren't they? Yeah, you know, a lot of them met some bad ways to come to an end. But Bartholomew was flailed, skinned, and Mike painted his own face there. And that kind of tells you a little bit about how he felt about the way he looked, doesn't it? A little bit? Mm-hmm. Okay.
That is so like weird looking.
And there's Jesus with Mary. What a gorgeous color, isn't that? Magnificent.
Oh, look at that bicep. That's huge.
Jesus is ripped.
Jesus
Yeah.
is ripped.
Tiny penis. I'm feeling. A lot of steroids going on there.
Well, I'm never
Said
thinking of
Jesus was on
Jesus' genitals, but
It's not
you know you are, Lisa.
Is that one that lifts the clothing, or was that actually painted?
No, that was there. Jesus was not nude. Jesus and Mary were not nude. But most of all the other
He even
churches
has
were.
the holes in his feet.
Yeah.
All of those guys are pretty well.
And these are just some of the angels. They're blowing their horns. You know, they're reading. Here we are reading the book of who gets to go where.
I know that guy on the left
And
hand.
again, here's another little wisp of this doesn't belong. That wasn't.
Which one of these things just doesn't belong?
Yeah, which one of these things does not belong there? Now, this painting is one of probably the most expensive paintings in the world. The blue here is a blue unlike any other blue you'll probably see. There are a lot of blues come close to it, but this is rather unique. And that is because the blue of the sky that is painted here, this whole blue that's painted in the sky of this painting,
Mixed with gold.
Michelangelo actually crushed up lapis lazuli in his paint. And you know what lapis lazuli is?
Oh, yeah, it's sapphire. No.
Not sapphire, but it is a precious stone, a semi-precious stone that the Egyptians love. They use lots of lapis lazuli. You know, all the blue that they have, the Egyptians, the ancient Egyptians, it's all lapis lazuli. Okay, the blue. And he crushed up lapis lazuli stones to make this paint. So, I mean, talk about precious, very precious.
So who paid for this? The church or?
Yeah, it would be the church. Later. I mean, it would be him at first.
Well.
Now, we'll go back for just a second
Oh, wait,
here.
no.
We're in hell, so see all the
Yeah.
demons and things that are in hell. Okay. He was not finished painting this, okay? And the Pope, which I apologize, I can't remember this Pope's name. It's not Julius.
Come in.
Come on in.
Get on out.
Forgot to put the paper in. Write your name on it.
No.
What is this? Oh, you want copies of this?
Mhm.
Oh, I thought this was Zach's. Okay, thanks. Got it. Gotcha. Okay. So the Pope had some dignitaries visiting, church officials and things from other parts of the world. And he wanted them to come into the Sistine Chapel and obviously admire the great work Michelangelo had already done on the ceiling, but to see what it was he was doing on the north wall. He's not finished yet, and he's actually in there working. And you already know how he feels about people watching him work. But these are church dignitaries and officials, so he probably won't say a whole lot to them, not like chunking paintbrushes at them, right? So they come in, and they're looking at this, and there's lots of nudes. I mean, even though it's not fully finished, there are a lot of nudes. And the Pope likes it. He really likes it a lot. He has no problem with the nudes. And the Pope says to the little group that he has there, you know, what do you guys think about this? And, you know, comment. And one guy, one of the cardinals, says that he does not like it, that he says it is worthy to be on the wall of a brothel house. And, I mean, yeah, okay? And Michelangelo's in the room hearing this crap, okay? And obviously does not appreciate that very much. This comment that the cardinal has made about his painting should basically be on the wall of a whorehouse. Really? Probably not the best idea that you ever came up with.
I bet he got punched in the face.
No, he just got painted in hell for all eternity.
With boobs.
Okay? Not only painted in hell, but with a giant serpent wrapped around him, biting his penis for all eternity.
And then
I
boobs.
think the
Okay.
boots with the.
Yeah, wing on your ting ting. Forever.
And how his man boobs
Okay,
are.
try erasing that.
His man
Right.
boobs just like.
Now, here's the deal,
Yeah,
guys.
sort of.
This is him right here, in case Jared can't see what I'm doing. Okay. When the guy comes back, it's probably a couple months later. He does come back on church business, and he goes in the chapel. I mean, that quick identifies himself right there in hell. Okay, it's very clear that it's him. It's his face. Right. He has the ears of a jackass.
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah, I was
like
like,
donkey ears.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's get that. The ears of a jackass. Look, and there's a wing wing on a ting ting. Okay, love that, don't you? He's so mad. He's livid, and you would be too if you came in and Jake, that is you right there in hell of all things.
Maybe it was man
I would be
boobs.
proud.
You're in hell, okay? He goes to the Pope. He's so upset. He's so angry. He goes to the Pope and he's like, you have to make him change that. Everybody knows that's me. If they know me, they know that's me, and blah, blah, blah. He's very upset, and the Pope tells him, I have no jurisdiction in hell. And that was that. Because there he is, still to this day, is that cardinal. I think his name was Baggio, Baggio. I don't know how to pronounce it, but that's it. That's him right there. And he's right there when you first walk in the door. If you're coming from the museum, the door is right here. So when I knew I was coming, I knew where I was when I saw ahead of me, and he was right there. So I turned immediately to see the cardinal right there in hell. I mean, it's just amazing. He's right there.
well, he shouldn't have said that in front of
No.
Michelangelo.
I mean, are you kidding me? You're going to make a horribly negative comment like that in the room with the artist, and he isn't finished with the painting. You got what you deserve, sucker.
I still
That's right.
think it's funny the way he painted him. I wonder if he was really
I
that
know.
flabby.
Well, I don't think he was naked when Michelangelo saw him. But,
I don't know, but his boobs are sagging over that snake, and it really makes me laugh.
They are floppy.
He has a buff on though.
yeah, and, it's not bad ass right here,
But he has man boobs. You can't keep
That
like
little
how-
red demon thing
all the
that's like
muscles.
towards the bottom, it
Yeah.
looks like it's got its fingers in its mouth and
Yeah.
it's making funny faces.
Yeah.
What is that
Ooh,
other
there's
one
like a-
doing? That guy on the bottom.
Who knows, man? They're all
Look
doing
in the
something.
background on the top right of the screen. There's like a freaky thing.
I still think it's funny that he put the snake's face there.
It's biting. He's biting his penis.
I know. I think it's hilarious.
Take it back. That's what you get. That's what you get. Okay. Now, so Romanini Pietà. And we all remember what the word Pietà means, yes?
Pity.
Pity, that's right. And who's pity? Mary's. The pity of Mary.
How did you know that?
I taught you.
No, how did they know that? I wasn't here in first semester.
I taught you. No,
No, we
I
just
taught you
learned
this
that last
semester.
Remember we were sitting here going, it means.
Where's it at?
No,
It's on
Rhonda
the
Page 7?
third page
How do
of
we
the
know what Rhonda
info
Dini
packet.
means?
Oh, Romanini is just where it's at. Pietà, that's what I'm talking about. Page 7 of your picture packet. Here.
I was wondering why it looked weird. Said it never got finished.
Yeah. Romanini is where it was. It's not there anymore. It's in the Milan Academy. This piece was unfinished. Michelangelo does die before he finishes it. He was actually changing the composition of it. You can see that she has a strange, what is that, an arm or
Banana.
something coming up out there? You know,
Really no big banana.
so it's kind of weird because he wasn't done with it. He kind of decided to change how the position was going to be. And because it's unfinished, in many ways it does reflect the sorrow and tragedies of his life, and therefore is his testament.
Was Michelangelo a pretty wealthy guy?
No.
Did he not get painted or paid for all those paintings?
No, particularly anything he did for the church, most of the time he went without payment. And the church would let him, like while he was doing the Sistine Chapel ceiling, they had a place for him to stay, a home that he could stay in. And they hadn't paid him in like 3 months that he had been working or longer. And had the nerve to send him a bill for rent.
What did he do with that?
I don't know, threw it down. I mean,
Ripped it up and
Yeah.
put his face.
Yeah, I mean, he was a very much a struggling artist, we'll say that. And particularly because he did so much work for the church, and he wanted to work for the church.
We can't tell the church no.
Right, that's how he felt.
Jesus felt.
Yeah, that's exactly how he felt. He was in a very difficult position. Exactly. And, you know, once he did try to run away from the church, and it was actually right before he started to work on the Sistine Chapel ceiling. He already knew Julius wanted him to do that, and he wanted to run away from it. He had no desire to be any part of that. And he ran away, tried to hide out, and the Pope actually threatened war with the city of Florence if it didn't cough him up. Surrounded the city with troops.
He was the pretty painter.
Yeah, release the painter. You know, I mean, just okay. It's not exactly the way that it worked out. Michelangelo did eventually go back, but under duress, I would say.
So he didn't even want to do the Sistine Chapel, and it ended up being one of them.
Yes, exactly. He fought it. He did fight it. First of all, because it was paint, and he did not think he was supposed to paint.
And it was a heck of a lot of work.
And
Yes.
he did not like Pope Julius.
He did not. You just put it all together there. He put a little bit of time into it, and he was not happy with what he did, and he actually destroyed it. It wasn't what we see now, okay? It was something else. It was a different idea. He was unhappy with it, and he threw a big old wad of paint or did something to destroy it and left. And it was just like, you know, one of those artist moments that he did not feel like what he was doing was what it was supposed to be. And he didn't want to be pushed and forced to do something that he didn't feel like that's what right. Right, it was not speaking to him yet. Like all the stones told him what they were. He was not receiving anything on this, and he knew it was a big deal. Plus, him and Julius fought all the time. It was just tumultuous. So he ran off. He literally ran off. Hid out in Florence for a while. Julius shows up with troops, and Julius is also fighting somebody else too, but he does show up with troops, and he tells him that you have to cough up, you know, Michelangelo.
Give me my
Give me the office. And eventually Michelangelo does receive what he calls divine inspiration. We don't know how it came to him. There is a film about it. It's called The Agony and the Ecstasy. It's an old film. I don't know.
It was ecstasy. There we go.
It was ecstasy. That term, agony and ecstasy, defines how he felt about doing the job. It was pure agony, but also ecstasy.
So I'm wondering how it would look if he actually wanted to do it and he actually felt like it was something he wanted to do.
Well, he eventually got to that. What he does do is eventually what he wanted to do, but he kind of had to be forced into it. To a point. It wasn't until he did receive the divine inspiration that he did it with joy. I'm not sure how much joy because it was so painful. He had so much physical problems, and he got really, really sick. He was really, really sick. He had a real high fever, and a lot of other things happened to him besides the blindness. But, you know, the painting was a different experience for him because he believed that God put him on this earth to do sculpture work, not paint. And he didn't enjoy that as much. So here we see, you know, him in the middle of something that we have no idea how it would have turned out and looked, but it's another Pietà, another
Where
moment.
is his other arm?
Well, that's what I was talking about. The
Oh, I thought you were talking
composition.
about that big old thing that they're leaning on.
The composition was being changed, so we're not exactly sure what he was going to do with this, but he was in the middle of changing it. But that moment, the Pietà moment, is something that he loved very much, the idea of it, and was designing it again here in
The other
sculpture
one's
work.
still, I think, my favorite.
Yes. It's hard to see that, isn't it?
Not really because he didn't finish this one, but like, it's the look on her face.
Yeah. Yeah.
And knowing that it was destroyed and they were able to put it back together so well.
Mm-hmm. True. True that. Okay. So Mike was in his 80s. I believe he was 88 when he
Oh,
died.
dang. You last so long.
It did live a long time, particularly for that time period. He and Leonardo both lived long lives, not Raphael. He actually died on his birthday.
Like Shakespeare.
Yeah, sad.
Be kind of an awesome birthday present. I'm serious.
It would.
Jesus for your birthday.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's the way you look at it.
Oh, there was his arm.
Okay, so that is the magnificent Michelangelo. And now we'll move on to the Renaissance man. Leonardo da Vinci. Now, this is not in your packet. This is just what Da Vinci looked like a little bit. I'm going to talk about it for just a second here.
Students and teachers, apologies for the interruption, but I'm going to announce students of the week. 9th grade, Caleb Jones, nominated by Ms. Smith. 10th grade, Jordan McGonigal, nominated by Ms. Palmer. 11th grade, Aaron Goldstein, nominated by Ms. Palmer. And in 12th grade, Kaylee Owens, nominated by Mr. Summer. If those students would come to the office, please. And I have two quick announcements. Students, if you're wishing to bring an outside date to the ROTC ball this Saturday, we need to have the names of those dates on the forms by this Wednesday. If you're wishing to bring an outside date to the prom, we need that date by a week from Wednesday. Thank you.
Leonardo was so smart. He was beyond his years that he was born in, obviously, the time period that he was born in. It's hard to find somebody to talk to when you're that smart in your time period. It's definitely hard to find time to marry because you got too much to do.
Oh, he was a player then, huh?
Well, I don't know about that. I know there's a new show coming on. I think it's HBO or Stars.
Baby, I'll get you
Da
one.
Vinci's Demons. I'm not sure that his life was anything like what it's getting ready to show on there, but it would be interesting to watch that.
Demons?
Da Vinci's Demons. It is actually about Da Vinci. I'm not sure how accurate it's going to be, but and of course, being one of those paid channels, it's going to be a little bit dirty. So yeah, I don't know about that, but Da Vinci's Demons. It starts this week, like the 12th. What is today?
8.
Yeah, so it starts the 12th. I was curious about it. I thought I'd watch some of it, but I don't have those channels anymore, so I can't watch it. Anyway, Da Vinci, his last name is
Turn off
Da
it.
Vinci. Yeah, I didn't do that. Leonardo. It's from the town of Vinci, Italy. So why is his name Da Vinci, which means of Vinci, right? Anybody know? Why?
He was about,
So he was a bastard, yes. He was, that's right. He was a bastard child. Yes.
I didn't want to say
That's okay. It's not a cuss
Well,
word.
shit.
That word in that way is not a cuss word. He was, though. His mom was just, I think she was just a peasant lady, if I remember correctly, and his father was a notary. They weren't married, that's what that means, that term means. And they didn't get married. So his name is Da Vinci, Leonardo of Vinci. And very smart in his childhood. What Leonardo did to get his apprenticeship with Verrocchio, that's the artist he studied under. When he goes up to Verrocchio's studios and he wants to apply to, I want to come study here, Verrocchio, says, draw me some things, whereas Michelangelo had to draw the artist's work and bring it back. Well, Da Vinci just grabbed a piece of paper or something that was laying there, drew a circle on it, and handed it back to the Verrocchio and said, "Here."
Damn.
Verrocchio looked at it and was like, Okay, you're in. Because he had free-handed a perfect circle. I don't know how many of y'all know this, but that's basically impossible. Okay, I don't care how much that you try that. Y'all go ahead and try. And you have to go really slow. Okay, Da Vinci didn't do that. Da Vinci went like and handed it to him, and it was basically a perfect circle. So that's all he did. That's some skill right there. And Brocchio was smart enough to understand that and was like, okay, we'll see you tomorrow. So he studied under Verrocchio. Da Vinci loved a lot of different things. He had a lot of different things that he loved. It was very, very difficult for him to maintain focus on things for very long. He loved botany, all types of science, architecture, weaponry. He always had cool ideas for fantastic weapons.
Didn't he invent like the first tank or something?
Yes, he did.
I know that from Assassin's Creed.
His journals are full of his ideas and things, and yes, he did write in his journals backwards, where they could only be read if you held them up to a mirror. A couple of reasons for that. No, he was not dyslexic.
That's
But if you have ideas that you're afraid will be offensive to people, if he writes them in a way that when you first pick the book up and look at it, if it falls into the wrong hands, you know, you're not going to be in trouble, right? So he wanted to make sure that his ideas wouldn't fall into the wrong hands and get him in trouble or get other people in trouble, because he's also studying things that are a little bit taboo, which is anatomy. It was not appropriate for people to study anatomy to the extent that almost all of these artists have to, and so it was taboo. They would have to go into morgues and hospitals and study anatomy kind of secretly, because you can't draw it if you don't understand it. And you could see artists who are drawing incorrectly. You've got like extra muscles in places where they don't exist, and it doesn't look good. They'll draw this stuff and sculpt it, and you're just like, hey, we literally don't have a 12-pack. Okay, that's weird. And what's this muscle? So if you don't understand about anatomy, then you can't be as good an artist as you should be. So these top artists are going in, because the church doesn't like this, the Catholic Church. They think that this is wrong. For you to look at dead bodies and to do autopsies on them is wrong. And good artists want to do that. They want to study the body and understand more about the body. And of course that has to do with science also, which Da Vinci was very much into. And he would draw detailed drawings of things he saw and ways that he thought the body was, and muscle structure that he thought the body was in, the way he thought the veins were connected, which is not all stuff you can see. A lot of this stuff is not all stuff you can see. Some of it is his own ideas. He loved birds. Birds and the idea of flight. He could not stand or tolerate the thought of a bird being trapped in a cage. So anytime that Da Vinci went to the bazaar, he bought every bird that he could find, and he set them free. Some of them he would take back, and because he just wanted to study their wings, and then he would always let them go because he couldn't stand the thought of a trapped bird. He thought it just made him sick, so he always let them go. We have actually built his.
His wings, those wings.
Yeah, we built that thing, the glider. We actually built the glider, and it is in the Aerospace Museum in Washington, D.C., and it does fly. But Da Vinci never actually fully developed it and built it that we know of, and the fear of the crossing the Catholic Church is why. He didn't want to offend them, and that would be going a little too far, because they did not think man was meant to fly. But Da Vinci did. These are some of the drawings that he did. We only have.
Backwards and like.
He would write backwards.
Oh.
This writing is all backwards, and in Italian.
Oh.
So if you can read Italian.
Do you read Italian?
No, it's just because it's backwards.
Hold it up to
That's
the
so
mirror.
weird.
Yes. This is a giant crossbow.
Yeah, you can see a little guy standing on it.
anyone try to build that?
I don't know.
Like ballistas, that's what those are.
This is the human heart, as he thought it worked and went. Pretty good. And he's made all kinds of notes. And you can access online a lot more of Da Vinci's notebooks and just the drawings that he had. I mean, these aren't meant to be great works of art, obviously. These are just his private notebooks where he drew things out and made little notes for himself. But because he's Da Vinci, everything he ever touched, we just clamor over. The truth is, there are only 50 of his works that exist in the world today. And none of them are sculptures. Those are all gone. And he did create sculptures. So we don't have any of them left. They're all gone. In the recent years, I think it was 2 years ago, they actually acknowledged a painting, a new painting as a Da Vinci, and I will show that one to you. It's pretty cool looking. This is what he thought the baby looked like inside the womb. Not bad. Not bad.
You know, if we could read it, we'd understand how he thought it worked.
Yeah.
But it looks pretty accurate.
Looks
like,
pretty good.
Almost 9 months.
I'm just throwing this out there. Back in the day, without all the medicines and like painkillers and stuff, there's no way I would ever have a child. Ever.
I guess you wouldn't have sex then,
No, I
because
wouldn't.
that's how they come about.
I just wouldn't.
Now back then,
I don't even know
probably
what
would have
sex is.
But look at this one with now he's showing the skeletal structure with he's got muscles attached. And the tendons, how he thinks that those are connecting.
That's really creepy.
And then over here are the veins. Look at the veins. Very detailed, baby is. And here's your helicopter.
Someone build that?
I don't know if we built the helicopter. I thought I saw where a group of university students had, with their professor, had tried to do this a couple years ago. But now you can see his handwriting a little bit closer. Goes backwards. Alright. The first painting that we'll look at, and this is we'll do this one real quick and then we'll stop for the day, is the Baptism of Christ. This one he did with Verrocchio, so you do have to have both artists down. Not just Da Vinci, but Verrocchio also. Because Verrocchio this was his painting, and he had Da Vinci help him on this one. And remember, Verrocchio is the master artist. But there's definitely, I mean, we can definitely tell that Da Vinci is here. The angels at the bottom there on the left are very different than Verrocchio's work with John and Jesus. And it was clear to the master that the student had surpassed him.
What if keep telling them what they were done? Just like, hey,
Hey, dude, whoa.
whoa there.
Whoa, dude.
Well, maybe you tried one of them.
Yeah.
It's my
Whoa,
painting
dude.
after painting.
Now, Da Vinci will get better. This is early Da
I don't
Vinci.
quite like the eyes.
He'll get even better.
Yeah, they look really funky. I like how you can see the bags under their eyes, though.
And I like the hair, how it looks like actual, like, individual ringlets.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
That's
that.
not how I ever would have imagined my Caleb today.
Right. A little strange, isn't it? But if we go back and look, I mean, that was kind of the way that Verrocchio was doing with the.
Like, this is Da Vinci's first work, and I'm like, I'm gonna stick man. That's all I got.
I got a stick man going here, and they're standing in water. That's why their feet kind of look strange. They're standing in water.
Oh, I thought it was just because it was old.
Yeah. Anyway, so that is Da Vinci's first work that we know of, and next time we're going to be doing that one, you're going to start seeing a huge difference. And he's going to grow so fast, he's going to surpass that very, very quickly. Okay, so we're going to stop right there for today.
I wonder if Verrocchio resented Da Vinci.
Da Vinci? I don't think so. I think he was very proud of his student.
Like, wow, I I'm hoping.
Yeah, I helped him. He learned that from me. Sees Mona Lisa later, he's like, yeah, I got that.